So this is the conversation though. Now I've got a massive erection for the Cows this season. This is what after that win. So I wrote back, Robson short ball to Cotter, offload to Duffy, long ball to Dearden, inside ball to Drinkwater, hits the hole and gets through, puts it down under the post. Round 3, Cowboys 8, Broncos 54 with a kick to come.
Yeah. He would have just been like, fuck you.
Righto, let's get into it, get the glazing started. Thoroughbreds, welcome back to this week's podcast of Penalty Broncos. We are the number one Broncos podcast that we listen to. I'm coming to you from the Bandwagon Bar. You can see set up there behind me, we've got Ringer and Langers joining us online from across the state. Ringer, how's your week been, mate?
Righto, very good week, mate. As you know, you can't have a bad week when the Broncos put on a clinic like that. Been flat out. Bit of water got around after that rain event, so we've been putting fences up and all that stinky stuff. I'm sure you know all about. It's not it's a good job when you get the water, but I mean, sludging around in muddy creeks, pulling up old fences, mate, it sort of breaks you down mentally. So, but anyway, no, been good, mate. Topped off by a great weekend. So can't wait to get into this week's.
Beautiful, beautiful. Langers, what about you, mate? What have you been up to?
Mate, I've been in Collinsville this week. Back to sort of normal work now after that little weather event that we had. It wasn't really little, I guess. Probably shouldn't say that it was little. But yeah, no, just back into the swing of it. Had to work Saturday, so that sort of took a big chunk out of my weekend plans, but always happy to lend a hand for that extra couple of dollars. So, no, still got to wrap around some good footy on Saturday, which was very, very, very welcoming to watch. So, yeah, can't wait to get into it, mate. How about you? How was your week?
Mate, week was great. Pretty cruisy at work, I guess you could say. But the weekend's been superb. Got the mowing done fresh and early on the Saturday, just before it started pissing down again, and then settled in to watch the double champs come into life.
Boy.
Back to back sort of stuff that we were talking about. And then today we kicked off the inaugural Penalty Broncos Supercoach draft. Ringer was there. He was online on the big screen and whatnot, and we knocked it down. And a couple of questionable picks were made early on by a few of us, and then late in the piece as well. So, like our slogan for this year, though, your team, your mistakes. So we'll
pick them, you wear it.
Yeah, we'll see how it all pans out from here. So before we get right into it, though, Thoroughbreds, last call for the tipping comp and the Supercoach comp that we have up and running, all via the Supercoach app and the Supercoach tip apps. While you're listening, head over onto our socials. The codes are there, but I'll read them out right now. So for the tipping, the code is 325271. And for the Supercoach, we have 324537. So sign up, be in it to win it. We'll have a couple of prizes at the end of the year. And yeah, tell your mates, tell your workmates, spread it all around, spread the love. But anyway,
we got a few in the classic one too. It's actually pretty cool now.
Yeah, we do.
It's going to be good competition.
Yeah, we got 19 in there, so be good to crack into the 20s. And I think we've got 9 in the tipping. That'll be good to get double digits in that and whatnot. So I know everyone's in so many tipping comps. There's your work one, your social one, your family one, down at the RSL, like all that sort of stuff. So, but I'm sure you got room for one more. So,
especially with the ones that give you an actual prize at the end of it.
Yeah, that's it. You got to be in it to win it.
And going off last year's form, you're going to fucking walk all over me. So
she's double jokered up too, I think.
Yeah.
We can double jokers throughout the years, so be good stuff. Righto, bit of waterhole waffle is what we're calling this little segment here. While we got caught up in the NRL 100 hottest boys, the thumping of the Titans in Toowoomba, we completely forgot that the Broncos had 2 player of the match performances in the men and the women's All-Star match. Now, Jesse Arthurs took home the Preston Campbell Award during the men's game, We covered his stats last week as we were just sort of talking about the Broncos in general there. But a crowd favourite here on the podcast and an absolute machine on the field, Keely Joseph. She took home the Trish Hina medal for best and fairest during the women's All-Star match. She had 13 runs for 90 metres with 20 post-contact, 2 tackle breaks as well. So solid hit out for, I can't imagine that they would have had as an intense preseason as the men's at this point. So they all would have been a bit, how you going? But I also believe that she's jet set it off with the Gillaroos as well. Sitting over there in Vegas. She's joined by Brigginshaw. This is straight off the dome, so apologies if I fuck this up. But Brigginshaw, Keely, Upton, and Robbo. Julia Robinson are over there. So good luck to those girls for sure with the weekend coming up. Any chat on those guys that you want to talk about? Keely, Jack?
Not really. Keely's just like if Keely ever listens to this podcast, she thinks she's got 3 stalkers because we absolutely love what she does in the Broncos there. But yeah, only thing I've got to add to that, mate, is the Gillaroos are about to give the Poms an absolute rugby league humping over there in Vegas. So look out for the girls on the glitter strip when they bloody get after that win. So
that's it. Langers, you got anything to add to that one, mate?
Yeah, no, I think the Lionesses are just going to get absolutely fucking. It's going to be good if we can wrap around and see it. Hopefully, Kale will show it so we can sort of all wrap around it here at home. And it's going to be 3 good matches, potentially 4 if you wanted to wrap around the international lads as well.
Tragic news, however, has occurred. Hayes Perham has gone and done his ACL. We've seen him, come from the field there in Toowoomba. So he was firming as a good, confident depth signing for Reece. He was, I believe, on a train and trial up until that point. So when Reece was obviously, going to go for Origin duties, he was looking like a real solid head sort of thing. But at the moment now, it looks like Latrell Sigbal has to take that sort of step. So hopefully he gets a good run in Q Cup wherever he's playing. He can get some games under his belt so he can be all good. With Tristan Saylor heading off, obviously, to the Super League. We covered him in the last episode where he scored 4, I believe, in that thumping over there. We're looking for Hayes to add depth to that position. At a pinch, we've got Staggs and Cobbo that could drop back if needed. But yeah, we've got plenty of outside backs there, so I'm sure they'll get a job done. But all the best in recovery, Hayes, mate, and hopefully we'll see you in Broncos colours in time to come. Vijay Samu, or Va'a Samu, I think his name is, one of the development players, young fella. He suffered the shoulder injury that will see him in rehab for a few weeks. Doesn't look like he needs surgery at the moment, but all the best for that recovery as well. And in relieving news, the train and trialist Matt Colner from the Burleigh Bears has escaped any serious injury when he hyperextended that left knee in Toowoomba.
Yeah,
so
that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Very good.
Thankfully, he'll only need minor rehab, so he should be good to
Looked
run
like
out
he
for
got
Burleigh.
shot, poor bugger.
Oh, that's a lot of weight.
rough.
That's a big man coming in on that knee.
Yeah, that knee going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, righto. Well, so we'll finish off this little segment with a discussion. We do have a predicament. So from what I can see, we have a full roster. We have a full 30-man signed up on the books roster. This is the shit part about this business side of things with the NRL. It's probably something that Madge has leaned into in the offseason that, hey, we do have a full roster. We have a lot of depth, though, of people who want to come into this roster. So you need to be doing the best that you can to keep your spot, essentially.
Yeah.
But if someone was to leave, so I'll read out the roster now. I'll read out the development players and the train and trialists. Who do we see leaving this year? Because we obviously know that Smoothie's heading off, so that frees up something for next year. But will we see any movement in the roster this year to make room for somebody coming in? So we all know the regulars. We've got our Rish Walsh, Dean Mariner, Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, Jesse Arthurs, Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds, Corey Jensen, Billy Walters, Payne Haas, Jordan Rickey, Brendan Piakura, Patrick Carrigan, Blake Mo, Ezra Mann. So that's our 30. With the development, we've got Bailey True, we've got young Va'a Semu, Cameron Bukwelski, Hayes Perham, Jet Bryce, and then with the train and trials, it looks like we have Matthew Colner, Latrell Sigwalt, Jamat Shabaski, or Gahamat, I think that's it. Yeah. Shibasaki, sorry, Tristan Powell, and Ronald Filatoga. So straight up, we can see an issue there with Latrell. If he needs to come in, someone's got to make way for him. And the same with Shibasaki. If it's true that he's starting, they can start, I believe. But yeah, someone needs to make room. I'll throw to Ringer.
Mate, you're right. It's a conundrum that we do have, but in saying that, it's a pretty good one to have.
Yeah.
To have that sort of depth. For me personally, with Tyson leaving at the end of the year, it's hard to take him out of your top 30 while Moses injured, just in case something else happens there. But because obviously Shibasaki has got Madge's sort of tick of approval, I think unfortunately from our top 30, Deloise Hoyter has to, for me, it's between Deloise and Karapani. And to me, unfortunately, not that Deloise did anything wrong. He was played bloody well the other day. It's just his age, mate. And that's unfortunate. And, I still think there's a fair few teams that could do with Deloise sitting in the wing. So I don't think that, so I'd bring Shibasaki in for Deloise. And then Fletcher Baker, mate, he hasn't made a bloody appearance. Never lit the world up when we brought him down from the Chooks last year. I don't know whether physically he wasn't up to it or whatnot, but I would take him out and bring Colner in, mate. I'd really like what Colner's been doing. Enthusiastic. He's a workhorse and just someone that, wouldn't look out of place plugging a hole in, if they had to put him on the bench there. So, yeah, mate, that's how I'd run it. But, yeah, other than that, it's pretty hard because that top 30 is fairly stacked.
Yeah, isn't it? What about you, Langers, mate? Have you got any opinion on that?
Yeah, it is a stacked 30, isn't it? It's I like the shout of Deloise Hoyter and Fletcher Baker though. I think that's probably could potentially be on the cards. I mean, it depends on your cap space as well. You may be looking at even getting rid of some of the big names. Like, I know there's a bit of chat going around that Cobbo will be leaving and all that sort of stuff. Staggs, maybe. There's chat that he's going to re-sign, but that still hasn't been made official yet. So, who knows? Like, you sort of, you've got some depth there. Like, I don't know if, you realise that we've talked about that a few times, thoroughbreds, but no, there's so much fucking depth. It's, it's a good little headache for Madge to have, but unfortunately, if you go by previous sort of decisions, the Broncos have a habit of getting rid of really good young players, don't they? So probably Kobe Black will fuck off probably next week. So
exactly.
But no, hopefully not. Hopefully, honestly, they all just like if they need to, they'll take a pay cut and they'll all stay, and we can sort of build a bit of a dynasty and all that sort of stuff. And unfortunately, just those ones that don't make the top 30, they're just, it's not because they're shit. It's just because they're in a stacked team. And like what the Ringer said, you got Deloise Hoyter, who is not a bad player at all. He'll be able to find a first grade spot in other teams, no worries. I would think so. No, it's definitely a good little headache for Madge to have, and hopefully we sort of see the same sort of 30, going forward. And if the lads sort of the training trials and the development players get a spot, hopefully when they do run on, they absolutely kill it. And she's all just smooth sailing for the Broncos.
Yeah. No, I'll echo that with Deloise, unfortunately, and Josiah as well. There is also a real chance. I am worried about Fletcher. I mean, no appearance in the trials.
Exactly.
No chat anywhere about him. So I think if he may have already gone,
Exactly.
sort of thing. So there may be that spot there for Sibasaki straight away. The other one is Jaden Hunt. I know he started poorly with the trials and he did come on a bit there. But, I mean, there hasn't been much chat about him either. It'll be just a depth player. So if we do need to bring Latrell in or a Matthew Colner, we may look at offloading a couple there. We have plenty of props. It's the second row where we're heavily light on. So, unfortunately, that's just part of the business that we're in. But
that's sort of, sorry, Brito, but that's why I was thinking of bringing like Colner and Shibasaki in. Just from that trial the other day, I think Latrell might be 12 months off playing NRL physically.
Yep.
Like he's not a very big human being. So, and I think Hayes, obviously, in that first game and what we've seen early on before he hurt himself, he obviously looked like the next step up. Just he was calm, collected. He was taking kicking duties, all that. So I think maybe now, because I think defences are going to find Trell because he's a pup, mate, and he just hasn't grown up yet.
Yep.
So I think they might go, like you said, Selwyn, Katoni or something, push them back and either bring in Israel Leota, Karapani, something like that to cover that wing spot or so. Yeah. Just purely from the other day, mate, he might have just had a bad day too, but it looked like they threw him around a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's it. I think, I mean, it definitely not holding anything against the lad. I mean, he's had a red hot crack. He's had a great off season.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure that he's absolutely stoked with the opportunity that he's got. So he just got found out a little bit there against the Bulldogs, which the top teams will do. He'll learn from it and he'll come back better and harder next time.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, I really hope that we get the chance to see Israel Leota fully stretched out at some point during the season. That'd be a great little foot race against someone. Be good to see Israel up against Brady Best on a foot race, I reckon.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty good. All right, moving on to the previous game result review. And buckle in, thoroughbreds, because the fucking double champs are in the house.
Yeah, boy.
And we make no fucking apologies for what we're about to say because the double champs get to do whatever we want. Home team, Brisbane Broncos. Away team, Canterbury Bulldogs. KO Stadium on Saturday. 9,420 seats available. I'm pretty sure they packed that out and then some. There was a really good crowd there for both games, which was good to see. Good to see the Titans actually show up too, but that's another chat. First half, 14-0 to the Broncos. Second half, 16-14 to the Broncos with a full-time score of 30-14 with the Broncos win. We had tries to Adam Reynolds, Jesse Arthurs, Selwyn Cobbo, Deloise Hoyter, Dean Mariner, and Benjamin Takora. Adam Reynolds had a kick. Tyson Smoothie had 2 kicks successful. We finished with a 50% conversion rate. I will just quickly say some stats. So I've heard all the chat. Everyone's saying that, if you win the preseason doesn't mean you're making finals because we've got a pool sample of fucking 2 years. Yeah. And Manly and the Broncos have won both of them and then didn't eventuate. And we'll play 12th, actually. You place 12th if you win the preseason challenge. So 2025, this year, we tied with the Dragons, who had a 38 points differential. 29 points overall for us, 5 bonus points, 2 wins. We had an 84, 26 against with a 54 differential. So pretty big gap in between the differentials there. Yeah. In 2004, we tied with the Roosters with the 54 differential.
Yeah.
28 points, 4 bonus points, 2 wins. 86-4, 34 against, and we had the differential of 54, I think it was, and the Roosters had 52 or something like that. So it was basically 2 teams at the top tied, but it was a lot further apart this year. We set ourselves up higher with a good defensive effort. So I was wanting to come on here with some stats and say, We're not actually at the same place we were last year, but it feels like a bit of Groundhog Day. We've hit the reset button. We're starting last year again, but this time we finish it a little bit better, is where I'm going with that.
That's
so,
right.
Langers, hand it over to you, mate, for your breakdown.
Cheers, Brito. Righto, thoroughbreds. Let's get down and dirty into it.
Let's get down to business.
So Broncos versus Bulldogs, Saturday the 22nd of February. Now, both the Broncos and the Penalty Broncos boys, we were aiming for a second 13-plus in a row. We were all one unit, all hoping for the same thing. So the 7th minute, first little gem, I guess we'll call that. It's a lovely little grubber from Ben Hunt to give Jesse Arthurs a chance for a try. He didn't get it down, unfortunately, but that wasn't from, a lack of trying or anything like that. It was just sort of how some of those go, unfortunately. Just the ball sort of bobbled up just as he tried to dive on it, and that's how it sort of went. But no, it was good to see, a glimpse of the alternative kicking option there to, creating a pretty great attacking opportunity, really, from old Benny Hunt. So that was, really good to see. Then in the 22nd minute, we got our first try on the board, supplied by the little general himself. And that was after a failed catch from the Bulldogs. So that was Broncos 6-0. 31st minute, we got Dean Mariner. He was held up just short of the line thanks to a scrambling Bulldogs defence. I think that was Matty Burton doing most of the heavy lifting for that scrambling defence. And he was millimetres. Touching that white line. So that was unfortunate, but didn't really matter because 1 minute later, in the 32nd minute, that lightning speed from Reece Walsh. Jesus fucking Christ. That's why he is on the big dollars, and that's why if you don't like the Broncos, that's why you fucking hate him. Because that lightning speed created the overlap, and it just gave Jesse Arthurs basically a clear run to the line for the Broncos' second try. Kick not converted. It was in the corner, so you can sort of forgive it. We were sort of trialing a few kickers. So kick not converted, 10-0. 39th minute, had a great little break from Jock Madden and a lovely little long pass to Selwyn Cobbo. He had about 15 metres, straight sort of run for himself as well. Bumped off the fullback, try in the corner. Unfortunately, kick not converted, 14-0, and that's half time. That was half time. 46th minute, 6 minutes back in. Had a lovely kick from Latrell Sigwald. That was a pearl kick, mate. And great pressure from the Broncos. I think it was Deloise Hoyter and Selwyn Cobbo on Connor Tracy. He's the Broncos fullback to create the error for Deloise Hoyter to just scoop up the crumbs and dive over into the corner. So that was the Broncos' fourth try of the day. Once again, kick not converted. So that was 18-love at the 46th minute. Then in the 58th minute, we had some very average defence, we'll call it that, from Corey Jensen and Billy Walters to allow Jacob Preston to just fucking scoot on through. Gave him a one-on-one opportunity with Latrell Sigwald, who was playing fullback because Reece Walsh didn't come back on for the second half. And fucking Jacob Preston just absolutely burned Latrell for pace, didn't he? Just basically went around him, unfortunately. And that, gave the Bulldogs their first try in the 58th minute. Converted that, so that was 18-6. Then in the 65th minute, the Bulldogs attacking play off a scrum on the Broncos' 10-metre line to create the overlap to get their winger to score in the corner. Yeah, we won't talk about that. 18-10. 3 minutes later, mate, then the Bulldogs spread from left to right and then, gave the Bulldogs the other winger, Blake Wilson, I think it was.
Yep.
His try, kick not converted again, 18-14. Now, I said at the start of this Thoroughbreds that we were looking for 13+, and when that third try went over, I thought, that 13+ is fucking gone.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
However, 2 minutes later, that little glimmer of hope started to surge because the boys, Josh Rogers, he had a nice little break, nice little offload to Dean Mariner, who just sort of muscled his way over, beat a few sort of defensive players over there for the Broncos' fifth try. Kick was converted this time, and that's 24-14. So a little bit of glimmer of hope, still got some work to do. 10 minutes to go. Then in the 75th minute, chasing one more try for the plus 13 glory. And who steps up to the plate? Big Ben Takura, doesn't he?
Oh.
5 meters out, Big Ben crashes into the defense, and just, we said it last episode. Good luck stopping that big cunt to come, not try, basically.
Yeah.
And it was good sort of defense from the Bulldogs that he only just got it on the line. But if you follow our Lord and Savior, Dominic Toretto, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning. And he got that ball on the line, so we will fucking absolutely claim it. Right under the sticks too, so that's always good for the kicking. And obviously the kick was converted. 30-14, we're back in plus 13 territory. We got 5 minutes to go. Hopefully nothing else is going to happen. I wish that it was just an easy 5 minutes to watch, but it fucking wasn't, was it? Because in the 76th minute, the next minute, I think personally, now I understand the rule. Thoroughbreds, but I think the Broncos were very lucky for Kurt Mann to be denied that try because of obstruction, just because the Broncos were just flat-footed. Like they just watched him basically. And I understand the ruling of it all, but some people would have said, well, that should have just been play on because he wasn't obstructed anymore. So, I think they were sort of very lucky from that. 77th minute, the next minute after that, Jesus, Josh Curran from the Bulldogs sin-binned for that high shot on Jack Goswelski, I think it was. Sorry, Jack, if we are just butchering your name, let us know how to pronounce it properly so we can improve on that. So apologies, mate. He went off for a Cat 1 HIA. So that's a new rule for 2025. So, Josh Curran got shown the 10 fingers and off you go, big fella. And that was it. Luckily, those last 3 minutes, they sort of just ran the clock down, just sort of typical Broncos play, which was nice to see. Now, Thoroughbreds, you have heard me just harp on about the dropout. And the Bulldogs did another one. Did it work? No, it didn't. But I won't get into it. Just another little tick in Langers' box of getting that shit out of your game. But overall, it was another good look at our depth. It's great to have multiple kicking options in the Broncos. You've got your Reynolds, you've got your Hunt, you got your Walsh, and even Sigwald if he does step up to the plate in future games. Broncos 13 plus for the second week in a row. Penalty Broncos 13 plus, second week in a fucking row. Back-to-back preseason champs. Bring on the Roosters, boys.
That's it.
Yes.
Fucking
love
nice.
that.
Regan, mate, have you got any chat? You want any opinion on that sin bin? What do you reckon of the new rule?
Oh, it's tough, mate, isn't it? The only thing I can see is that the coaches have all got together and said it's unfair that we lose a player for 15 minutes through HIA when that bloke's running because it's not this week. He probably gets rubbed out for 2 weeks after, but we still cop the bad energy from not having our player on for the 15 minutes. And if he doesn't pass, then he's got a potential of missing another game. So I think that must have what happened. It is a bit strange, but in saying that, Moses Leota today in the Roosters game, they were going to check him for HIA, and then they go back and see that he got someone in the head with a shoulder. And it's like, you're off, bruh. So he got his HIA and sin bin done all at one time. But, it's going to be odd, but I dare say that's where it's come from, is that it is a little bit unfair if you're getting penalised and on report and you're losing a player potentially for a week and next week and the opposition player's still running around. I dare say that's where it might have come from. And, shoulder to the head, unfortunately, these days, even if it is pretty soft, it's just that's what it is, isn't it? So it's a bit like that. But honestly, mate, if they stick with it all year, well, that's what the rule is. It's just going to be interesting when we get to a big game or Origin or something, and someone's not going to go, and then it's going to be a controversy. So as long as they stick to it, mate, well, fair enough, because you are losing one of your players at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. I like it that it's only connected to a category 1. So that player can, it rules out milking. You have to leave the game if it's 3 minutes in, you have to leave the ground for the rest of the game because you're a HIA1.
Exactly.
So, I do like it. It'll be interesting. If the coaches are the ones that have brought it up, then they're not going to exploit it because it's the rule that they wanted, sort of thing. So normally every other rule change we do, the coaches automatically go to the whiteboard. How do we run this into the fucking ground, sort of thing. So, so if they've brought it in, then that's a good point. I reckon it's great. So we've seen it a few times there over the weekend. I don't think either game was sort of changed by the result wasn't changed by it. So I can't see it being a huge difference during the regular season. Well, I guess onto that, Ringer, mate. We'll get your breakdown of the game. How'd you see it?
Yeah, mate. It was honestly in the first 20 or so, I was not completely impressed.
Okay.
We look good, and in attack we always look good, but I did think that our line speed was a little bit off at the starting stages there, and I think it was even in the commentary. Like we seem to let them come to us. I don't know whether that's they're probably just gas because these fellas didn't play the game. Like a lot of them didn't play the week before, so could be it. But maybe there's a lot of things. We held them out 90% of the time, so didn't really result in anything bad. When we are rolling, we're sort of back to that 2023 sort of danger, I think, because there was a couple of times there where we were they bunched us in on our 20, and then all of a sudden we went Payne, Paddy, and then shifted a little bit to an edge and got a little bit of a run on. And then once we get one-on-one with teams, once we get a little bit of space, we seem to make a hell of a lot of meters. So when we're rolling, it looks good to be back at that sort of 2023 where it was a 1-2 punch, Payne and Paddy, set the platform, and then we had the smarts to sort of pick where we were going next, and we'd always make good meters. I'm really liking Kobe at lock. I think they've shown their hand now. He's not moving from there. It's the same thing. Paddy plays. He just plays middle. It doesn't matter what numbers on his back. He's just middle anyway. But Kobe being in the middle there, he shortens up. Oh, I love when people pick him out. I suppose if you're running at Paddy and Payne, and then you see Kobe out of the corner of your eye, you think, oh yeah, I might pull this little fella on. The next thing you're on your ass. He's a fucking gun. He's going to put on some great hits this year. And he seems to got that link roll pretty well down pat. He's giving good service when he has to be the one that's distributing.
Yep.
I liked Selwyn's aggression.
Yes.
I thought he looked a little bit blasé for the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden the switch flicked, and he just was lining off kick returns or something. He was just lining people up and just running over them. He was aggressive in defense. He really impressed me. He really, really impressed me just with his attitude, and had a bit of mongrel about him. Jesse Arthur's looked good under the high ball. We've seen a few games of Jesse now with the All-Stars match. He looks solid as a rock. He's physically a specimen, isn't he? He's put on a fair bit of condition this year and a lot bigger. Our boy, Joshy Rogers, the Joshy Rogers fan club here, mate. Big body, defends well, didn't look like a liability, and then set up that really good try where he pushed through the line. Lovely little offload, just straightened up the attack. Yeah, Joshy Rogers, big fan. So he's a good one to have sitting there if something happens to our halves or, Origin or something like that. And finally, mate, Marty Tapau has to be in the 17. Has to be.
Vote for him for president.
Mate, he could be the captain if all I bloody. He honestly was probably the best forward on the field there.
Yep.
His ability to make 6 or 8 meters after he hits the defense and still find his front is incredible for someone of his age. Like, he's got that dad strength, eh? Like, get the fuck off me. So, yeah, mate, Marty has to be in the 17. So which makes it, it's that good amount. It's a good amount of pressure for them other fellas to keep turning up and keep doing their job, because if we go with the 3-prop bench, you got Marty, Takura, and Willison. Like, who's going to miss out on this bench, But I just, for me, I think Marty has to be there. The attitude and the play that he's been bringing is just incredible. And then touching on that try, like Langer said, the Kurt Mann one, the only thing I can think of there is that, like, the old Shepherd rule is that you can't take an advantage once you have run behind your player.
Yeah.
So no matter how much time's elapsed, and I know that's the rule, and it seemed so strange because it seemed to like a minute passed since that player run through. But I think the Broncos were all just waiting for him to lay on the ground so they could sort of reset. And it's such a silly look for the game, because they're like, oh, it's an obstruction. And I'm sure there's a photo out there somewhere where there's like Kurt Mann and like 6 Broncos standing in front of him. Like, how is he obstructed? But I mean, I think that must have been the interpretation, is that once you do go behind your play, you cannot take an advantage. So, because there would be some smart bloody coach out there that'd get someone to skittle someone and then have someone hovering around behind them, wait until they stand up and then run through or some bullshit like that. Like, but that's all, mate. And all up, I think once we sort of got going, we looked really good against a team that I think we're all tipping to be, in the definite top half of the ladder this year. I think we looked really good.
Yeah. No, great shout. I think I've seen a few comments today about trying to justify, obviously, a lot of things with the preseason trial games. And someone referred to Adam Reynolds, Ben Hunt being clunky. Now, I get it. It's their first game together. So, yeah, they probably are clunky. However, when we were in the right, instead of last year where it seemed like we wanted to attack from the 55-meter line and score a point, when we got to a tackle that was right of the post, what did we do? We went bang, bang, Reece, get on the outside of your man, put Arthurs over. When we got to this side of the post, what did we do? Ben Hunt put a grubber through, and we raced through and sort of went through from that. So I think that, yes, it might have looked clunky, but I think the right calls were getting made at the right time, which is what we want. And we've seen that Reece was still allowed to do that sweeping play. That was a beautiful ball from Renault, straight out to Reece, got on the outside, and thankfully Arthurs has got the speed to keep up with Reece, because good Lord, that'll be a struggle. But for the man of the match, I chose Selwyn Cobbo. And like we said, he got a bit of mongrel about him. I don't know if the word came off the bench to him, like, hey, you need to wake up, or whatever it was. Or it might have just been that he was just so angry with himself for that shit play the ball. I can't believe I got pinged for not rolling the ball, all that sort of stuff. That might have just lit his own fuse. But he certainly tried to put a few rib cages back through spinal cords a couple of times there. But he ended up with 1 try, 11 runs, 136 metres with 47 post-contact, 7 tackle breaks, 10 tackles with only 2 missed, 2 errors, and 2 handling errors. So he still had a couple of errors there, got some points back to make up for it, made a bit of effort there in a few other areas. So all in all, I think man of the match performance. And it was pretty hard because there was quite a few contenders going about for it there. And it was also hard because it was so chop and change. Like, I don't know. Exactly. I don't know if and I didn't watch all the games. So Thoroughbreds, comment away if I'm getting this completely wrong. But I don't know if there's any other team that used all of their players. Like, there wasn't a player, other than Fletcher Baker, there wasn't a single player that didn't get game time during the preseason matches. Everyone got a run, everyone got a test to trial it out. So, and we came away with 3 wins, if you include Burley. So, happy days there, I reckon. Now onto the stats. There's a couple of here that I've I've highlighted that stand out, but usually, it was pretty even regardless of that. But 53% possession to us, 47 went the way of the Bulldogs. The completion rate, 79%. So we dipped just below that 80% mark that we strive to achieve every week. But still, all in all, we completed 39 out of 49 sets, while the Bulldogs went for 75%. They completed 33 out of 44. Run meters, 1,788 to us, 1,630 to the Bulldogs. Post contact, 641 meters to 523. Line breaks, though, 6-3 is where we got them. Mr. Jock Madden got 2 of those just by himself. Tackle breaks, 41 tackle breaks to 18. And coming from a Dogs pack that you would envision were pretty high on defense last year, that's pretty big, 41. Average set meters, they ended up being 36.51 to us, up against 37.05 to the Bulldogs. That first set, straight off the kickoff to start the game, I think we made 73 meters, and the Bulldogs could only answer 34 on the return.
Yeah.
So, it looked pretty damaging at the start, but that ended up averaging out. Kick return, 178 meters to us to 147. Not much there. Offloads, 5 from us to their 3. So that's all good. Kicking meters, 670 meters went against 553. We got 140-20 out of Reese. And then we also got a kick out on the full as well. So still needs to look at how much air is in those balls. Kick diffusal was a big one. 63% kick diffusal to 29%.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so we had a few points come the way of that, which was good. Good kick pressure, I guess you could say. So that was handy. Now, effective tackles, 93.11% we were tackling at, which I think has got Madge written all over that. Up against 89.63 to the Dogs. We made 338 tackles. They made 415. If you do the maths, they had to defend for 13 extra sets up against us. So that takes a bit of a toll on the body. Ineffective tackles, even a piece there. Intercepts, there were none. Errors, pretty even. 13 errors to us, 12 to them. Penalties conceded, 6-9. Ruck infringements, 4-2. And on report, we actually had we had 2 from the Bulldogs. So Curran with the dangerous tackle, and which he got sin bin for. And then Max King also got put on report for a dangerous tackle, but I haven't heard anything about either of those.
No.
Kobe got put on report for a dangerous tackle as well, but I think he'll be okay just by looking at the replay on that one. So all in all, that was the team stats, and we jump over to the player stats here. Most tackles, Kobe, 37, doing his job there at the 13 on his back. Love it. Yeah. Preston got 41. That's what you get when you've got an absolute workhorse and they are defending all the time. Why Preston and Burton were out there for as long as they were, I feel like Mr. Ciraldo was taking the preseason a touch too serious. I was actually quite concerned for the Dogs about why they were out there for so long. Most run meters, Marty Tupua, 181. Just a rock solid effort.
Beast.
Preston ended up topping the Bulldogs and the game with 183, but he did have that little runaway try that sort of probably added to that. Most line breaks went the way of Madden. As I said, he got 2 before. The Dogs only managed 1 with Blake Wilson. They got a few others, but he was the one that topped out. Now, we've run through the tries already. Post-contact meter king, Martin Tapua, by far, 98 meters post-contact. Little bit of a kick in there too. I didn't want to record his kick meters because I don't actually think they recorded any for that attempt.
Marty was feeling good about himself. He thought, I'll just drop this on the toe and get a set restart.
Get it out.
Instead.
Drop it on the ground.
Get it out in preseason, buddy, and then we'll just leave it there. Right? But yeah, so
the kick license just.
Yeah.
So, but to put it in perspective, Preston on the Bulldog side got 64 meters as their highest, and Marty's out here at the young age of 32 or whatever he is, punching out 98 meters PCM. So good on him there. Goswelski, 53 meters, Jensen, 49, Cobbo, 47 were the honourable mentions there. Line breaks, there was quite a few here. We had Madden, obviously, with 2, but Arthurs, Rogers, Mariner, and Takura all managed to score themselves that one. Now, the list of players that went 100% in tackle efficiency goes Walsh, Sibasaki, Arthurs, Carrigan, Ricky, Mariner, Piakura, and Takura. All of those boys went 100%. Big standout effort there with Carrigan at 16 with 0 missed and 0 ineffective. Shibasaki as well doing great, but a massive shout out to Hetherington. He went 37 tackles, 0 missed and 1 ineffective. That's huge, and that's why he's there. I'm guessing we all knew he could tackle, so we'll just leave him there and let him tackle his dick off. Defense that was bad though. Karapani didn't do himself any favors there. He had 2 missed and he made none. Poor fella. Sigwald, he made 2 made, 1 ineffective. Ben Hunt, now he made 8, missed 2. I don't know how you want to see that one. Stags, 2 made with 1 ineffective. So they were the bads. Errors, Cobbo obviously went up to the top there with 2 errors, 2 handling. Sigwald did the same, and Martin Tapura as well.
He did attempt to kick for 1.
He did,
we'll just put...
yeah, we can wipe that one off, surely. Now, clean sheet when it came to errors, there's a list as long as my arm here again. Stags, Pakes, Haas, Karapani, Jensen, Piakura, and Takura again. They were the players that went 100%. Clean sheets across the board, no ruck infringements, no nothing. So I think that's a solid effort there as well. Shout out to Big Ben Takura, making his name on a couple of lists there for that. So surely he has all but cemented a bench spot there, the young fella. But I mean, in saying that as well, like we do have the depths in the forward, so how good's it going to be? Give each player a couple of games. I know you want consistency and you don't want to break the team up, but give these young guys 2 games, then go back and have a sit out for a weekend and bring somebody else in. You know, we didn't really see too much of Xavier the other day as well, so he's still got to throw his hat in the ring for that. So anyway, that's the stats there.
And scarily, well, not scarily for us, but scarily for other teams, if you were to put up a list of who is the best next prop up, it'd be Xavier. And you've got Marty and Ben Dakura putting out games like that. So, you know, it's brilliant again in our middle.
That's it. So, good stuff. Good team effort. I do, like I said before, everyone had a game and we still punched out, you know, smallish errors. We still punched out good defense, good scramble defense. And I believe that the right calls were getting made. And I text this in the group chat on the day. What's it going to be when you're on your 10-meter line? It's a 4th tackle or 5th tackle option, and you look up. Who are you running at to stop? Are you going to stop Adam Reynolds, Ben Hunt? Are you going to Reece Walsh, or are they just going to throw it out the back to Jesse Arthurs or Selwyn Cobbo? Like, Jesus Christ, I hope we're a headache this year.
And then you've got Ben Dakura just fucking breathing down your neck to run over you. Bloody, you know, it's pretty smart how they've been setting that up in preseason. It's been the same play. Drop him under right on the line and just let him run over people. Like, people are going to know that. So when they're on the line, there's no way they're going to be able to, like, decompress that center. So they're still going to have to stand and they're waiting for this mountain, and then they can just, like, dummy inside, and then you'll find space somewhere else. So, can't wait.
You got the crafty 6 and 7 there, just pulling the strings. So, you heard it here first, Thoroughbreds undefeated 2025. 4 Pete from the Panthers, fucking whatever. You can't do it undefeated, mate. Don't worry about it. All right. We'll move on to our next segment, which is growing in popularity. Unfortunately, it's probably growing as big as his head with a win like that today. But thankfully, the Gronk got his video in before the game, so there's zero chat about that. But here he is.
Hey boys, sorry to interrupt what is no doubtedly a very aggressive circle jerk over winning your second preseason challenge, whatever. I mean, I can't say you don't look good. You look good. You look fit. You look madge. And looks like you're actually going to buy in. So that's fucking scary. So here's a few takes that you didn't ask for. I think it's answered one of my questions in previous episodes. Looks like Reese, he's going to be allowed to cook. Still, just do what he wants. Sometimes he'll cook a 40-20 gun, and then he'll fucking try and hit Madge in the head in the coach's box. He kicks it that far out on the full, so same old thing, rocks or diamonds, but fuck me, the diamonds look good, don't they? Cobbo surprised me. Had that fuck up playing the ball, and I was like, same old Cobbo, but then, yeah, it looks like he actually got the shits and was a little bit scared of what Madge would do to him if he didn't hook in, and he fucking did. It was little shades of, remember Origin 1 Cobbo that time where he just fucking decided to steamroll everyone? He sort of had a bit of cunt about him, and I like that. I like that a lot. If Piakura isn't in the run-on team in round 1, it's a fucking huge piss take. I don't know what Jack's got over Madge Gajowski. But to me, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and it's probably a fucking damaging ball running, fucking hole hitting back rower that you have to pick in round 1. Does that make sense? Probably not, but you don't have to. Well done. You've won it last year, and look at how well that went. Okay, bye.
Fucking hell.
Fucking
He does
weapon.
well there.
He's a weapon of a kid, isn't he?
Fuck
Oh.
yeah.
I like how he just like roasts us and leaves the chat.
Yeah,
Like,
It's just a drive-by. Boy.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he is right. He is right.
Yes. Once again, he's right.
Piakura, like, he has been a man on a mission, and I feel like he has received Madge's influence and chat well. I feel sorry for, and I forget who it was, one of the Bulldogs thought he was in, and then all of a sudden Piakura stood in the hole and just snapped him. But he came up on my stats list here. He 11 tackles, 0 miss, 0 ineffective. Like, in contact, he was good. He made some good meters as well. I think he was up there with the post-contact guys, sort of thing. And his partner in crime, who we've been pretty hard on in the past as well, Ricky, went 100% defensive. Yeah. So the second rowers are starting to bite, and hopefully they're starting to bite at the right time. So, Langers, what are your thoughts on the Gronk?
Yeah, no, he's he's never really wrong, is he? Like, you don't really have too much to be like, no, I don't agree with that at all. One thing that I did notice about Reece Walsh when he did kick it over the stadium when it was out on the full, last year when he did that with the Titans, or it was sort of just towards the end of the season, if he did something like that, there was no accountability, there was no hand up, sorry lads, there was nothing. It was just like, yep, well, that happened, so now we just move on, sort of thing. Whereas when he did it on Saturday, he was flarking dirty with himself. He was absolutely fuming, and a few lads had to come out and be like, "It's all right, mate. You know, like, you'll get it the next time. It's all good." So I think that accountability is there now, and obviously they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to do the wrong thing, and I think that does come back to Madge has just obviously lit a fire up fucking everybody, saying your job isn't safe, your position isn't safe. You want to fuck around, you'll find out. So yeah, no, it's looking good. It's looking good, boys.
Yep. Fucking sweet. What about you, Ringer, mate?
Yeah, mate, I have to agree with him. It's good to see that they just let Reece be Reece. And like Langer said, I did enjoy him giving himself an absolute fucking spray when he kicked that ball out. But then, he comes back and kicks 40-20, so, which was an absolute piss missile, by the way.
Wasn't it 30-10?
It's 30-10. Like, he kicked the shit out of it. But yeah, mate, I got to... Maybe Madge, when he turned up, he identified that the second row was our weakest depth position. So that's why he's focused so much on it and created this, like, competitive like environment, I suppose, because Jack is definitely improved from the games he run on for us last year. There's no doubt about that. And if we didn't have this kid called Brenton Biakura, you wouldn't be unhappy that Jack was starting on that left edge, would you? So, but Biakura does look more damaging and more like a psychopath, to be honest. So there was one play there, I don't know if it was Reece or Hunty or someone, whoever was playing on the left at the time, give a short ball to Jack, only about 4 meters out, and he got close, but he couldn't quite push through the line. And all I was thinking in that moment was, like, if that's Biakura hitting that line, he's crashing over. So, there's just little subtle differences like that I think could... Yeah, if it was me, I'd be leaning towards Brendan, but we don't know what's going on inside the four walls of Red Hill, and maybe Brendan told Madge he was a cunt when he first turned up. God only knows, and he's just got to, you know what I mean? It just seems strange when you see what the performances are on the field to even be flirting with the idea of not starting him. So hopefully it's all the rocket, and like I said, Jack has improved out of sight compared to when he first turned up. So, not terribly disappointed if he's the one on that edge. I just can't help but see what's right in front of my face.
Yeah, no, that's it. My other interesting thing is the Shibasaki call. I know Mariner last year, he was very rocks and diamonds, just like Reece. But I don't actually think that he's done anything to blow that perception out of the water either over the preseason, whereas Chavat, so when he first debuted for us a couple of years back, he was not, he was a rookie, and so he did rookie things and whatever. Then he got moved on, didn't really think much about it. He didn't really have a good run with Newcastle when he was there, but I don't have the best opinion with the system down there in Newcastle anyway. Went up to the Cowboys, had a crack there. Same sort of happened. He sort of was just there, in and out, flirting with the first grade, couldn't crack through. Then I heard that we had him. But immediately in that game yesterday, there was a kick over and it was a high ball, and he just put his hands up and just caught it. Done. Passed it on, whatever. And I sort of, that raised my eyebrows. I was like, okay, like sort of there. And then he did a few plays in there as well. His tackling was good. His running was good. And he has improved again. He's just another one that have just come under Madge, and it must be just what he needs. And so he's improved out of sight and put himself in the spotlight for it. So good on him, I reckon. And if he does start,
he is a big body, isn't he?
He is a big body. Yeah. So if he does start, I'm not going to be upset about it. Hopefully he can just keep his spot. Otherwise, hopefully Mariner can prove that he's worth and he should be there. So, anyway, we'll move on from that. Couple of injuries. We do have 2 weeks now, Thoroughbreds, until we face the Roosters. We won't really cover that game as in the matchup. We'll save that for the next episode, and we'll chat a little bit about Vegas and whatnot while we're there as well. A couple of injury concerns coming out of the game against the Bulldogs. Obviously, Staggs is the big one, but I've got it down to we have 2 weeks off. They took him off as a precautionary because he had a complaint there on his quad. He was walking around the dressing room unaided, sort of thing. So we'll just let the medical staff at Red Hill do their magic over the next 2 weeks, and I think he'll be good to go, fingers crossed. Reynolds, obviously, we had a fair bit of ice sitting on his legs, as well as Walsh. And there was a few others, but overall, we got out of the preseason challenge. We had Piram obviously do his ACL, but rather unscathed. We haven't got our number 7 tearing biceps and stuff like the Gold Coast Titans do and all that sort of stuff. So, or the Storm, who aren't running players because of injuries and all that sort of stuff. So we're in good shape. I feel sorry for the Roosters. That's a lie. I don't. I can't see it.
Oh, but you shielded it so well.
I just feel sorry for my Supercoach team because I do have a couple of Roosters in my side. So hopefully they at least score some points. But tune in next week for the podcast next week, before the actual round 1, where we'll talk about the Roosters game coming up.
Yep.
All right. In more for the week ahead, we have tipping. We're only going to cover the 2 NRL games at the moment because obviously the Gillaroos are over there, but I think it's pretty consensus that we're going to go the Gillaroos, and I think the $1 sports bet market says everything that we need to say about the result of that match. And then we don't really know everything about the Wolves. Is it Warrington versus
Warrington Wolves?
Yeah,
Warrington. I didn't even look. I haven't even paid attention to Super League.
Yeah, it's Wigan Warriors versus the Warrington Wolves. So, we don't know much about that, so we're not going to tip that. But I've gone the Sharks to kick the season off right. I also don't think Nathan Cleary plays or Brian To'o, but that's another story. And then I've got the Warriors. I don't know. I've got the Warriors. Canberra look the goods. They look okay. Maybe they might run out an Owen Paddy, hopefully. See some glorious stuff from him. But I've got Sharks Warriors. The Gronk has gone Sharks Raiders. So no one too high on the back-to-back-to-back lads. Back-to-back-to-back-to-back lads just yet. But what are you doing, Langers?
I'm with the Gronk, mate. I've gone the 2 Smokies. I've gone the Shark and the Raiders. And for the punting thoroughbreds at home, if you multi that, you're looking at a tasty little $5.74. Bet responsibly, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think, well, first of all, fuck the Panthers. So, it speaks for itself. And, just hopefully old Sticky's boys can do the job over there. But I think it should be 2 Pearler games, hopefully, to grow the sport and all that sort of shit over there and give the Yanks something to, wrap their eyes around. Hopefully they do put on a good show. But, I've gone the 2 Smokies, mate.
Yeah, copy. I think it's a great timing for us. Super Bowl's just finished. They're all on the come down. They want a little bit of a hit, smash up sort of thing. Throw that at them in Vegas. Oof. I reckon it's a great little recipe. Ringer, what about you, mate? Who are you going?
Mate, I can't. I understand why you have, but I can't go past the Premiers.
Boo, no.
I know. We all want to see him get big, but I just can't. I just can't see him going all the way over there just because they've got that big game experience. And, if, we understand the Sharkies seem to have a lot better lineup this year, like a bit more fleshed out in the middle and whatnot. But we've got to remember that every time they play a finals game or come to a big stage, they shit the bed. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Just thinking the occasion, the size of the lead up, build up, maybe might get on top, but I could be perfectly wrong. But I'm just going to Panthers, and I am going the Raiders. I really liked what I've seen from the depth of the Raiders in the trials. Sticky looks like he's got them fucking fit, and I would love to be a fly on the wall for Sticky's motivational speech in Vegas. Like, he's probably, laid out a fair few bloody Sakis or something in the fucking glitter strip over the weekends before, but he'll be on top of his game, and I'd love to see it. So my bet is Panthers, obviously, with a Casey McLean anytime, into a Raiders with a Matt Tomoko anytime. and that is a very juicy 1466.
Oh, shit. Yeah, right.
So,
All right. Well, I'm the only one going the Warriors, so I'll go and fuck myself then, I guess.
up the bars.
I believe in you, RTS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Thoroughbred, so what we're going to do this season with our betting, we'll talk about it on the show, obviously, if we see something that catches our eye, but tune in every Thursday on our socials. You'll hear our best bets coming in, so the boys and myself, including the Gronk, he'll be there, he'll have his own, he'll lay it down. We're going to video ourselves explaining our best bet. It could be a single leg, it might be whatever, but our aim is to hit winners. They may not be multis, but it'll be what we think will give you a responsible return on your money. How big you want to put on that bet is up to you, obviously, but we are trying to hit winners. We're off to a great start. I mean, if you went 13 plus, and you should have been going 13 plus on the Broncos, you'd be ahead for the season. You'd have a nice little kitty built up. You don't have to run to the, you don't have to run to the partner and say, hey, can I have a couple more shekels, please, for my betting account? But yeah, our road to $1 million will still be there. It'll just be our best bets all combined sort of thing to see what we can get, see if it comes off. But yeah, Thursday, tune in. And then obviously the next Tuesday we'll explain where it went wrong. But hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be all green ticks galore. So, bit of a wrap up before we wrap up, I guess. My thing, and I've noticed this over the last 2 weeks as we're getting into the season. So last year, and this is all allegedly, reportedly, of course, Thoroughbreds. Last year, Corey Parker and his wife, Margot, had a little bit of a run-in with the Walters to the point where Billy vacated his seat on Margot's radio talk show that he had because of some things that she said about his dad. Now, Corey's contract with Fox has not been renewed. Now, this wasn't over the off season. This was obviously well-known news that he wasn't going to be renewing for a while. And they've since then took on Kevy. And I apologize, Kevy, if you ever hear this, mate. I'd never had an issue with any commentators with the I just whatever white noise, but sometimes your dad jokes are painful to listen to. But keep them coming because it gives me something to think about during the game. But yeah, anyway, so Corey now, he's got his own little radio show. He's on SEN. He is unhinged now that he's not shackled up with Fox. And I love the commentary that he's been coming out with his opinions and whatnot. It's going to be a glorious time. Corey, loved you as a captain and as a Broncos player, mate, so keep it going. He came up with a really good opinion of replicating the NFL where they have a 2-week gap in between the last game and the Super Bowl. So that allows the players to fully immerse themselves in what's about to happen. Any little niggling injuries to heal up a little bit more so that you can actually play. Let's say, like his take was, what if you get a HIA Cat 1 in the semi-final? Yeah. And the only reason you're not playing is because it's within that 11-day playing period. Yeah. Well, 2-week gap gets you to play the game. You get to play for your team that you've fought so hard for. So I think that's an absolutely great take. And then he said we can plug that weekend with the NRL All-Stars, the Indigenous versus the Māori, with any players that obviously aren't playing in the grand final, which seems fair because this game that they had, none of the stars were playing. Exactly. So, and then they can't use it as can we use that as he's been suspended. Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, you can't because whatever, it's a regular season sort of thing. And then also you can have the NRLW grand final. I'm not a bigger fan of that. I would still like to have both games on the same day because I think I don't want the girls standing alone on that. I want to go and see 2 grand finals. And hopefully one day I get to see the Broncos playing both. And I can just immerse myself in that glory. So I agree with having like an Indigenous All-Stars match in there. And I agree with the 2-week period. What do you boys reckon, Ringer? What do you think of that take?
Yeah, mate, I like that a lot because like you said, with the HIAs these days, it could come at the end of this year, say it's Melbourne and Broncos going into the grand final, but Munster and Harry Grant got cut ones, and so did Reynolds and bloody Walsh.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's a real possibility. And then they're inside the 11-day period. They're walking around fine.
Yep.
But they can't play in the GF. Like so. Yeah, that's a really, and I understand. Oh, that's all the pressures of the year. But I mean, if we want the grand final to be the best club game of the year, then I think, and we are in a rare air of that in world sport where we don't have conferences. So, the best two teams usually get to the grand final from merit. So, I actually like it. I think you could plug that weekend before, like you said, with the All-Stars, and then have your interstate challenge game.
Yep.
And then whatever grand finals, like if you want to have the flag or whatever grand final, and then the women's, and then the NRL, if you still want 3 games. But I think grand final day could get away with having the 2.
Yeah.
Just the NRLW and the NRL started a little bit early. You could start a little bit later, but keep it in that twilight sort of period.
Yeah.
It's still a bloody good day, mate. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I reckon the 2 week for cooling off, you would soon fill that gap. And imagine the content and hype and shit that you could build up. The amount of stuff that your teams could do in that period, like that middle weekend could become your go to your home, and have your grand final parade stuff.
Yep.
It's not in the week of the grand final, which is a distraction. So, I like it.
What about you, Langers, man?
Yeah, I like the 2 week shout, to be honest, just for basically everything that the Ringer and yourself and Corey has said. Because, imagine if you were like an Adam Reynolds, you're looking at the back end of your career, and then, you just get your head taken off by some fucking dickhead with a swinging arm, and you're fine, a week later, but there goes your shot at the grand final because of him.
Yeah.
So, I do like that idea of the 2 week gap. And, even if the NRL did have to fill, that gap with something, apart from all the games that the Ringer just sort of mentioned, you can even do like mashups of the year, best tries, best hit ups, best defense, all that sort of stuff. Who's the fastest, bloke on the pitch, do the 100-meter dash, do high jump, do all the athletics, do a spectacle like that, open up a ground, get everybody in for tickets, I don't know, too many, footy nerds and, enthusiasts that wouldn't want to wrap around a 100-meter dash of all the fastest players in the NRL. I'd love to see that. So, no, I like the idea of a 2 week gap. Hopefully they can, that sort of gets a little bit of momentum, to be honest, because, I don't really see a downside to it, the 2 teams that are in the grand final, they can immerse themselves in a 2 week camp, sort of like Origin sort of style, and, they can sort of just, heal up and, get their little niggles sort of sorted out and, perfect their game plan. And then, come the grand final, you got 2 teams that are just hopefully fully stacked, full strength, ready to absolutely rip and tear. So, I like it, mate. I think it's a good shout.
That's another little thing too. You could also, like the Daily M's, you make a massive spectacle of that on the weekend that you don't have to play the grand final. You have that first week after the semis where you get out and about in the public. People obviously doing their rehab as they're go and sign some autographs, do the meet and greet days. Come Monday, closed doors, game time, lock in, run out, fully fit, like the whole team is from 1 to 17 as you wanted it, and then off you go. That would be intense. I'd love that.
And just another quick one too, they always say if you can't win the GF outside the top 4, right? Because it's back-to-back-to-back games that you got to win to get there. So if you've got a red-hot team sitting in 6th that ends up getting to a prelim and knocking off one of the big dogs, doesn't it make it a lot more interesting that they get a 2 week break? They get that 10-day break, the same as everyone else. The same as, because, you watch the big teams, if they're in the top 4, they win that first weekend, they get 2 weeks off straight, they get a week off straight away. And they all say how beneficial that is coming into the next round. So, that could open up another avenue for teams that aren't in that top 4 to, if you're going to make a push to the grand final, we can go fucking rip tearing at these first two. And then if we get that prelim win, we get that 10 days off.
Yeah.
So, I like it.
Be pretty dangerous too for the top two teams if they do win their first game. They get a week off. They go in, smack the semi, then they get 2 weeks off, and then
exactly.
Ooh, what a grand final
Quick
that's
trip
going
over
to be.
Bali for a week. Come back.
Get some like elegant and understated neck tats, and then come home.
Oh, then they lose the top 17 anyway because of Bali.
Yeah.
Anyone got anything else before we wrap up? We're all good.
No, mate.
Sweet.
All good.
Righto, thoroughbreds. That's us for the week. Send us your thoughts on the game. What did you like? What are your opinions? How are we going to go against the Roosters? What's your top 17 after what you've seen? We had a pretty good look at everyone. As mentioned at the top of the show, go and check out our socials for the tipping and the Supercoach League numbers. Those codes for the tipping, 359271, and for Supercoach, 324537. Wrap around it, get amongst it. Head over to our socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. Give us a like, follow, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, get involved. Really helps us grow the platform to where we are striving to be. Bet responsibly, be a contributor to society, stay out of one another unless it's consensual, and we will gallop off into the weekend. Catch us later.
Thanks, Brett.
That was absolute diabolical.